Get ready to dive into the rhythmic realm of the Drumheads podcast, where beats meet banter. Whether you're a drummer or just love a good music story, Drumheads is your backstage pass to the world of drumming and all things in between. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts, and please remember to subscribe. And now here's the show.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. I was laughing at you had used the Jizmak name on it.
Hey, it's the default. It's really the only one I know.
When you go to restaurants, do you use that name?
Yeah, no one knows. The idea behind GWAR is to have the anonymity. So
Sure. Yeah. Well,
no
man,
one has
sorry
a clue.
about the technical stuff.
It's okay. I was trying to get Wi-Fi on my end and figure out where to be in this place without being in anyone's way. So.
Oh, okay. Are you guys playing tonight?
Yeah. We're at the Capitol Theater in Wheeling, West Virginia.
How do you think that's going to go?
Probably
you guys get
just
any?
like all the other shit.
Yeah. I'm in Birmingham, and I think you guys were banned here or something. Is that right? I remember y'all played 5 Points Music Hall.
Yeah, that was a really long time ago. I think we played Birmingham Steel since then.
Oh, Iron City?
Yeah, Iron City.
Yeah.
That's the place.
Yeah.
So, but for sake of sensationalism, let's just say we were banned there and still are.
I mean, worse things have happened here. So
it's usually not a ban with GWAR. Usually it's promoters and venues have they're just really insecure about what the blood and the spew is going to do to the venue. So it's taken decades actually to sort of train every new crew that comes in and every new promoter that are younger than us and Live Nation and everybody to say like this is a professional theater act. It's gonna be okay. We're sitting in one of the nicest country jamboree theaters in America right now. It's so ornate, and it'll be fine. It all goes on to the kids, and then there's really not much cleanup. So all the our reputation precedes us for sure.
I grew up in Houston, and I remember TSOL and Slayer played this really nice theater. And man, by the time Slayer got on, there were like, you're sitting in those padded chairs, the chair bottoms had been ripped off and they were flying all over the place, because there was just no room for a pit. And people were just going crazy. So, I certainly can understand like what you're talking about, the nice theater, and you don't want it to get messed up, that sort of thing. So, well, let's get started about your playing. I was being snoopy and went through your Instagram. It looked like you started playing at a fairly young age. Is that right?
Yeah, just probably like everyone else, listen to some records at 10 years old and then start playing drums in the band, and then you're in a high school marching band, and then you have a high school band, and then you're a professional musician. If you dedicate yourself to it, that's kind of the road I took.
Did you march when you were in school, high school?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you stay on snare, or did you do quads or something else?
Yeah, I was the snare.
Snare guy?
My buddy was quads. The guy who got me to this gig and kind of refused this gig said, "Try Brad for this gig."
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he was a well-known punk drummer at the time too. So he wasn't really on the map yet.
And you've been with GWAR for quite a while now, haven't you?
Yeah, pretty much almost the entirety of it. We started in '89, and my first record was Scumdogs of the Universe, which is hailed as GWAR's, premier, kind of the record that we're known for.
You've been with them since? Just shenanigans and everything.
I'm on all the records except the very first one, which was kind of like a punk rock recorded over the telephone album.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, were you part of did you know about when GWAR first started? I know it was a bunch of art students, wasn't it? Or something like that?
Yeah, Richmond, Virginia had a pretty cool art and music scene. The college, VCU is there, Virginia Commonwealth University, and that's kind of where those guys met, and there was kind of like a lightning in the bottle moment. Hunter Jackson was an artist there. He's working on a movie called Scumdogs of the Universe, and Dave Rocky, the singer, had a punk band called Death Piggy, and they were kind of sharing the same practice space. Like they would rent artist studio and practice spaces. I have a very old Richmond building called the Dairy. It has these big iconic milk bottles on the side of the building, and I think it was where they used to like keep the horses or the milk or something way back in. And so that was just a rundown building in the 80s, and it was cheap rent for artists and musicians to have space there. And once they met, they sort of fused GWAR as a college project. And then by the time I had gotten into the group, it had kind of surpassed their college project. The movie never got made, and it really had turned into a touring, band.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got in the band, along with another guitar player, Mike Dirks, around the same time, and another artist, Bob Gorman, that was kind of when GWAR decided, like, oh, we're going to be in the music business and do this for real. We have a record deal. We're going to make the first real record for GWAR, and that's when it started.
With the record label, were they kind of in it from the beginning, or was there some pushback on it or anything?
No, it was a big shop. There was a bidding war for GWAR. They had
really?
They had done a couple of national tours, and they had been on MTV and New Music Seminar in New York and a lot of things on the East Coast. And once they got back from all that, they were kind of hot shit. And so a lot of labels came after us to record GWAR's records.
I know you've been with them for a while now, as you said, but and you guys change the costumes every tour, is that right? Or you try to stick with the same thing and just maybe modify it a little bit?
Yeah, we have the same initial characters over the last 30 to 40 years, but they always morph. They get better and bigger and gnarly.
Better materials, or
but the character names have kind of stayed, and a few of the guitar player characters, we changed the name.
Right.
There are some hardcore, like the core guys that have been there the whole time. Your character name doesn't really change, but your costume might over the years.
How hard was it for you to get started, playing from a kit to behind a kit with a costume like that?
I didn't really think about it. I was young and hungry, and I didn't really care. I just thought, like, I'm going to go on this cool ride, and maybe it'll turn into something, or maybe I'll come back and go back to college, or maybe this will be a stepping stone into the music industry in general. But I just didn't really think about it. GWAR has the motto of "Don't talk about it, do it." So we just kind of apply that. We just kind of apply that to everything.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. It's a very positive message. What about now as you've gotten older? How does it impact your playing at all? Or,
I mean, look, I'm not going to say it doesn't. I know my guitar player hasn't seen the neck of his guitar in 30 years. So I defy any band to wear our stuff and play your own songs and see if you can play your own music as good as you can. Right. So could we maybe possibly, over the years, we maybe could have been better musicians if we weren't wearing that stuff.
But I mean, that's what makes the mystique for you guys. That adds to the mystique of the band, I think.
I don't think it's harder for me now. GWAR's tougher and leaner and meaner than it's ever been, and we're out with Static X right now. And
oh wow, okay, cool.
Playing for bigger crowds, and we're slaying. We're slaying right now. If you want to come out and see a heavy metal show, this is one to see. You shouldn't miss it. Static X show is killer. We have the return of Gorgor, our 12-foot dinosaur.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the shows are spectacular right now. The kids are loving it.
That's awesome. When going back to when you first started playing, when you were playing in school, did you ever play like a full kit, like jazz band or anything like that, or were you just
there was
a snare?
There was a high school like fusion band. You would play some numbers, and we played trap kits.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, cool. Has your lineup? I mean, not your lineup, but your setup. Have you gone through the? I'm going to play a big kit, strip it back down, or what? Has it been consistent through the years?
I think at first I've changed and did a bunch of different things, but now probably the last 20 years, it's the same setup.
And what is that setup?
I mean, it's just, double bass kit, 2 rack toms, 2 floor toms.
Kind of the classic heavy metal setup.
Two Chinas. I'm a big believer in like 3 cymbal, triplet, everything. Got to have 3 crack cymbals to do a variety of things. And a few little bells and whistles here, splash or whatever, cowbell or something, but it's the same basic 6-piece kit.
Do you think your playing was? I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
I said 6-piece, or 7. It's a snare drum, 7-piece kit.
Yeah. Do you think your playing has changed over the years?
I don't know. I'm sure it has. You learn how to get play with a little more finesse, and you don't have to smash everything. And obviously, your chops get a little bit better, and also it's you play as good as the players you play with. So GWAR's been really fortunate over the years to have a lot of cool guitar players, younger guitar players with a lot of juice come into GWAR over our career, and inspire you to play different ways. And that's really helped my playing. Just the guys I play with are just phenomenal. So.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
You look back and you're like, wow, did I really do that? Because we were just playing at certain levels.
Yeah, I mean, I always talk about how when I first started playing, I was working at a music shop, and we had instructors there. We had jazz instructors that taught horn and keyboard and guitar, and had a drum instructor. And I noticed my musicianship as a whole really improved once I got around those sort of guys. You couldn't help but pick up stuff from them. Who are your influences? What influenced you to start playing drums? Who was it? Somebody specific? Was it a band or?
Yeah, there's lots of stuff, but I'm from Detroit, so music is in my family and everywhere that every place when I grew up there, which was a very short time and moved away. Like that's always been sort of a fabric. And, my uncles, they gave me some of my first records at 8, 9, 10 years old, like here's AC/DC, check this out. So it was a lot of like, I was really interested. And it's a lot of Motown and classic rock, upbringing at my age, where I'm from. So you're listening to that stuff. You're just like, oh, that sounds cool. I really want to do that, So, my uncles were a big influence. I've got tons of bands, that I love from a young age, and at all genres of music.
Yeah.
High school was really a cool era in the 80s. There was so much going on. There's new wave, you got stuff like Van Halen coming on the scene and changing the game, and you have a lot of fusion jazz. Like we're all about the jazz drummers. We're listening to the Dave Weckl and Matt Vishnu Orchestra with Billy Cobham and Rob Morgenstein and the Dixie Dregs. Like we're listening to all of that stuff. And then you got Rush, with Neil Peart, and you got punk rock over here, and some of all that stuff was just a cool bouillabaisse. And now it seems like as time goes on, stuff gets sort of homogenized and really, squashed into like everything's sort of the same. But back then, you had a variety of different styles and different genres of music that were super influenced. Like the Police. The Police are like probably one of the greatest / pop punk bands ever. And to listen to those guys play, and especially Stuart Copeland, you're just like, how do I do that? Let's do that.
Yeah. Did you have any musicians in your family or?
Not really. There was a few artists, my grandmother, but no, I don't remember any musicians really in my family.
When you first started playing, who were you trying to emulate? Who was your big influence?
Well, I was just trying to play the records. So it was like really basic. Let's try to play the AC/DC. Let's try to play the Van Halen. Let's try to play the BTO. Let's try to play,
That's what I was doing.
Ted Nugent, let's just try to play along with the record and have it skip, and your headphones fall
Then you have
off
to start over. Yeah.
Your headphones fall off while you're playing, and it's
Yeah. Were your parents ever like, did they raise hell about you bringing a kit home, or did they support it at the time?
I mean, yeah, they did. Everything that my parents did, and they're super supportive. Everything was like, all right, you meet us halfway, and we'll do it. Like, you want a drum set? All right, work and make half the money, and I'll pay the other half. You want
Yeah.
a car? Work and pay half of the car, and we'll get a car. So, that encouraged a good work ethic. And then, of course, they've been supportive my whole life. They love the idea that I get to do this. But the drums didn't last long at the house. Maybe about a year. My dad was like, "Get them out." So fortunately for me, I had a high school band, and my singer had this big, huge basement that he just had the whole run of. And it was so secluded from the rest of the house that we could make as much noise and do whatever we wanted there. So I spent probably half my high school, time living in his basement, listening to records till 3 a.m. and playing.
What kind of music was that band doing? What were you guys doing?
We were writing our own. We were writing our own songs.
Really?
It was kind of a progressive rock band. We do a cover here or there because we'd have to play some party or, But when we did gigs, we opened up for some cool bands back then because we had our own stuff.
Who'd you guys open for?
Living Color, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Really?
Yeah, those are two of the probably big ones. Like, there's all kinds of. Yeah, that was fun.
I mean, how old were you guys at the time?
Like 17 or 18.
Oh man, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah. Was there anybody, like, as you've gone on, that you tried to pick up other than just a conglomerate of everybody, or have you seen anybody in the past few years as a drummer, and you look at them from a musician standpoint and go, wow, these I need to pick that up, or that's a really good technique, that sort of thing?
I don't know about if I do that so much with modern players. Like, now I'm kind of settled in to what I know I want to do, and what my abilities are to do as I get older and stuff. So you just find new ways or new things. Everything I've probably done is like, just here, take a piece from here and here and plagiarize it. And then when you play it, your personality comes through in the playing, so you kind of make it your own. But, if you hear a lick, you're just like, okay, let's try that. And there's a lot of newer drummers, metal is super huge again. And there's all these players that have great footwork, and they're super fast, which I'm not. I don't play blast beats and bar music. We write a little bit more. We write a little bit more melodic stuff and a little bit more on the rock side than like super crazy, metalcore. We're just not that band. So every band's its own animal.
Sure.
I'm always amazed. I see great players. I'm like, shoot, I would never be able to do that, and that's really cool. But then I know that they would never be able to do what I do. So I just figure like, well, my band's this and theirs is that.
Yeah. Are there any, speaking of, are there any drummers you like to watch play, like any recent drummers?
Well, what blows my mind is Adam from GWAR, which is a side project going on with Phil Anselmo from Pantera.
Yeah.
And we just played with them at Metal Fest. And the metronome and the blast beat speed, it just doesn't seem human to me. And we're good friends. So when I saw him, I'm like, man, just looking at his body, like, are you part robot? Like, what's in your arm that makes you go that fast?
It's, for me, it's when I got back into drumming, I went out and did what I did as when I first started, was watching players. And when I got, watching the metal guys, man, those guys are unbelievable. Some of them, the technique.
The hard thing is that you can't last. You play that fast and that hard for a while, and you see all those bands, they always get a new drummer like every 5 or 10 years or something. There's very few that last. It's too much of a beating on your body. So even though some of the stuff I've done with GWAR can be difficult and has to be rehearsed a lot to get back, up to speed, play some things that we played when we were younger, we never really wrote anything that's impossible to play. Like, the real magic is being able to play your songs the way you want to for a really long time and not get burnt out, and then you're not in a band anymore, because your body's failing because you played blast beats for 15 years. Like, so, you know, Frank Beard from ZZ Top is a perfect example. You can play all of those songs until you're 106 years old. And that's a genius. That's a genius way to approach the instrument and writing songs too, because you have the longevity. Not only are the songs impactful, but they're very, you know, not easy to play, but they're able to play. You know.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So I think I kind of took that approach. I'm not trying to show out or see like, oh, look at how fancy and look at all these fills and all this stuff I can do. Like, I never saw drumming that way. I always thought drumming should serve the song. So if you don't make the song swing in like 15 seconds, then you're really not a good drummer. You're not doing your job. So to me, music is more about the drummer's job is to do that instead of to play all this fancy stuff. And, you know, even though that's impressive and, you know, guys are really good at it, you know, sometimes that to me just borderlines like, well, is that really music that I want to listen to, or is that even music at all?
Yeah.
Or is that just ability, you know?
Do you think that, I mean, I've heard that from a lot of drummers I've been talking to recently about, you know, what our job is as a drummer. Do you think that comes back to your training initially? You think that attitude, that mentality towards playing, you think that's letting the song speak for itself and you're there to just drive it, swing it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you're not there to get in the way and do a drum fill when there's an important vocal melody or there's a guitar riff or anything. Like, you have to be in the right place of the song. So if the song's got these other things going on, why are you going to step on it? Just because you can't play a fill there, it seems natural for the drummer, but like, sometimes you don't play there because, oh no, the important part of this part of the music is the singer right now, or, you know, or the guitar player in this thing. You don't want to overplay. And, you know, that less is more was kind of an attitude. Also, we grew up on kind of punk rock and, you know, we're just trying to play a beat straight through the whole song with some sort of endurance and, you know, just trying to last, you know, so there wasn't a lot of room, you know, for fills when you play that kind of music. And it was inspiring because it was about message. It was hard, but you didn't have to do a bunch of crap for it to hit home, you know?
Right. Yeah. And I mean, you go back and you know, I think we're the same age, you know, you go back and listen to the classic rock stuff, and you were talking about how drummers have to be replaced in that blast beat scene, you know, every couple of years, it seems like. And if you go back and listen to a lot of the classic rock stuff and think about what they had equipment wise to play and how they were touring, you know, that's a feat in itself compared to how the equipment we have nowadays. And you don't have to play the big toms. You don't have to play the big cymbals, you know, and everything. The drums are more responsive because the shells are better and things like that, you know. So it makes sense, as you're saying, to let the song work itself. Phil Rudd is a perfect example of that. And, you know, Frank Beard also, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we just, because of our age generation, you know, that was our springboard point. You had classic rock to spring off from heavy metal like Judas Priest and AC/DC and Ted Nugent and ZZ Top. That was the starting point. Where like younger kids, their starting point is like Slayer and Dave Lombardo. Like, man, if I'd heard that first, I might have started there. But, you know, we were working with just real basic, you know, rock 4/4 stuff.
Right.
So, you know, it all depends on how you come into the game and what your interests are. You know, that's what you'll excel at. And my deal was like, you know, punk rock in the 80s was a game changer, you know, and all that stuff, all that cool metal and new wave and funk and everything, even all the jazz and fusion stuff we were listening to, all that stuff, you know, had an impact. And you listen to music in a way where you're not just listening to the drums, like, you know, so I think that's important. I think drummers, they just want to listen to their stuff and like really hone in on what they're doing and everything, but you got to know what everyone else is doing when you play music. I got to know all the guitar players' parts. I got to know where the singer's singing. You can't just think about, I know my drum parts. You have to think about everyone else so that you're in the right spot in every song that you play.
Do you still go back and maybe play along with songs that you liked growing up, or when you were first starting out? Do you still do that?
No, no, not so much. No, we get in the rehearsal room, and a lot of people are like, "Well, what do you listen to now? And what are your influences?" And it's a tough question because I'm not listening to as much music because I'm making it, which is bad to say, but that's where my headspace is. I want to be in the space, in the rehearsal space, writing new songs and making music more than I want to be listening to what's out there now.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just.
I mean, that makes sense. Sure.
I mean, it's okay. It's not great. So sometimes people try to reference things, and I'll be like, I haven't heard of it. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
interested. Like, okay, like I'll listen to it. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah. Yeah. I still go back and listen to the stuff I listened to growing up. It's for me, it's still, Bad Religion, Social D,
Yeah.
all the West Coast stuff.
Yeah.
Just
I don't see music. I know music is great and it's good to be sentimental and reminders or whatever, your first kiss or your first rock show or all of that kind of stuff. But I don't really think the music really just forward facing all the time. Like, what's around the corner? What am I doing? Pushing stuff forward. I don't look back too much. A lot of people really attach themselves to songs and sentimentality and things. And there are definitely some songs like that for me, obviously, for everybody. It's part of the human, experience, but I really don't go back too much. I'm always looking forward.
yeah. What is the songwriting process like for GWAR?
It's different because we have players. We have a new guitar player now that's been with us a couple years. We just are releasing a new EP, Return of GWAR, which is our big dinosaur. It's not even an EP, it's a multimedia release. It's a full-on 32-page comic book, live tracks, brand new tracks about the return of GWAR with a new guitar player. So that whole process is really enjoyable. We got a new guy, Tommy Meehan. He's amazing. He's a prolific player. He helped write and direct the video that's out there now, Lot Lizard. And we really sat in a room and he tried to figure out how we write songs, and we tried to figure out how he writes them, and we kind of meshed it together, and it was a really, really good collaborative effort. Like, it's all 5 guys in the studio working on stuff, and we came up with some really cool things. Some of the main riffs are his, some of the main riffs are other people in the band, and it worked out really well.
Have you picked up guitar through the years?
No, I haven't. I'm a lazy musician. I'm just a drummer, man. I just love guiding the whole crew. I can't speak to music as well as those guys can in the circle of fifths, but I know a few things that are important.
As an old head in the group, do you keep when the younger guys come on, do you always like try to keep them, focused or like, all right, guys, come on, let's go,
Not at all. Usually we're smart in picking our players and the guys who really love our band. And some of them, they're younger, so they've been fans before they were actually in the band. And you don't have to motivate anyone to be in GWAR. Like, if if you don't know this is going to be tough and you're going to work harder than any other band out there, and you're going to have to, wear a bunch of hats and be prolific in whatever art and music that you can make to contribute. There's a lot of us, and it's kind of hard to get your idea in. There's so many, and we're always, elbowing each other. Now my idea is better. Let's do this instead.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So there's not a like, oh, I got to, hold your hand. You come in to GWAR, you're getting the gig because you're fierce already.
How long this tour? You're in West Virginia now. How long has this tour been going so far?
This one started Mother's Day, so May, and it ends on the 21st at the Caverns, which is going to be pretty cool in Tennessee. I don't know if you've heard of that place.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's inside a mountain. It's a pretty rad looking place, and we're going to.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So that's the end of the tour in the Caverns, and we're going to do a big video shoot, big live stream. Not live stream. It's a stream something. I don't know. We're going to put out product. We're going to record it, film it, it's going to be a big deal.
Do you still have people show up with rain suits on and carrying sheets of plastic to stop the blood?
No, they want the blood. They wear white T-shirts so they get the blood on them. Nobody covers himself up. Not even the Static X fans. They're digging it too.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to go? You think you'll hit Europe later in the year? Or?
I don't know if we're going to go to Europe. I think there's something slated for Australia in December. There's like festival and some headline shows there.
Oh, okay.
We're doing a one-off in Alaska in August.
Really?
I think that's been announced, and then there might be a Hawaii show, but I'm not sure how that's going to pan out yet.
Is the Alaska show? Is it going to be multi-band? Is it going to be like you guys open? I mean, or
I think there are a bunch
of
locals on it, like 2 or 3 local bands in Anchorage on it, and us.
So, do you guys get your blood locally, or do you?
Yeah, we go to we go to farms and buy goats from the local farmers. No, I don't want to give away the secret. My artist guys might get mad at me, but it is safe. It's a food dye, so it's completely safe, and it's made with water. It's not. I don't know how we get it. I don't know where we carry it. I don't know any of those things, but I know every show. Every show we have 99 gallons of it that goes into the crowd.
Oh, good God!
Yeah.
Wow. So I got to ask, your costume. How does it smell by the end of the tour?
It smells like a hockey locker room. Latex and fur and sweat and blood and everything. It's not good. I think we're endorsed by Febreze at this point.
Febreze and Lysol.
Yeah.
Clean it out
lots of like the latex, we clean it with isopropanol, rubbing alcohol, that keeps the germs out, keeps it clean and tight and kind of safe. But yeah, the stuff, it gets packed away. We got to pull it out. We got to dry it out. We got to wash it. That's ongoing daily.
Yeah. So bad. You see the scents coming off of it in real time, real life,
Yeah.
I mean, I can just imagine.
It's like a cartoon.
Yeah. That's funny. Well, give us some pointers on drumming. Give us like a philosophy sort of thing, or something that someone could take away from this and go, well, I learned this from Jizmak to Gusha.
I don't know, man. If music is fun, get some guys that are like-minded guys and sit in a room and have some fun and play together and figure out, what you want to do. My philosophy is drummer lives for the song and not to be flashy or do anything, or, I just grew up in this kind of punk rock era, so there's no big deal per drum solo.
Right.
When you come to see GWAR. Even though I love all that stuff and all those players, it's just not my style. So I've adapted this style for this band, which is a specific thing and a specific job. And then I haven't, I've been doing it for 36 years, so I haven't really had to let me see what I would be like. And we've had side projects and stuff, but I would just say, don't ever stop playing for one. If you got the bug for music and you're playing drums, you'll never stop playing. Just don't. And just serve the music. Know as much about the music and the other players in the band as you do about your own instrument. And to be successful. And also, if you can't mimic anything perfectly. So whatever you draw from or whatever your influences are, steal it, borrow it, plagiarize it, make it your own. And then once you do that, it'll sound like you once you start playing music.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's like to get your own sound. We're like, oh, as soon as you hear that, oh, that's them. Oh, that's this player. That's when you've kind of honed your musicianship to a point.
Yeah.
Like anybody goes oh, hey, that sounds in the first 4 bars, it's the Beatles. It's
right.
It sounds like them. And if anyone else plays it, it wouldn't sound like that. So
sure.
Make it yours. Make it yours is the thing.
Cool. Well,
those are the few points.
Where are you guys going to be in the next couple shows?
We got a day off and we're heading up to the East Coast. So we go up to Connecticut and Pennsylvania and back down to Raleigh and all this. So we're bouncing around.
Are you with
And then
Static X the whole time?
Yeah, until like the last thing. The last two shows in the Caverns is just us. It kind of ends a few days before, and we did these two shows because we had the video shoot at the Caverns, sort of as to get on the way home to get back.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
there's like 14 more shows of this, or 12 more of this. So
Kind of good to be back out, isn't it? And keep losing you.
yeah, people keep calling in. I'm on my phone.
Oh,
So sorry
gotcha.
about that.
Oh, that's okay. All right, man. Well, listen, I know you gotta get ready and do what you got to do for today. I don't want to keep you much longer. Really appreciate you coming on.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on. You know, any time you get to talk about music and drums and, you know, expand that and send it out into the world, podcast or video, and have other people, you know, watch it and listen to it. It's a good thing. Music is super important. So keep it going.
It is. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, man, I may have to reach out to John and come up in Tennessee and see you guys. That'd be an awesome show.
Yeah. Please do. I know we got a day off tomorrow because we're trying to get to Connecticut. So we're up in Hampton at the beach, but I'm not sure about the other northern East Coast shows. Where are you located?
I'm in Birmingham.
Yeah, so you're way down.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Tennessee is.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That Tennessee might probably work out. Yeah, because I usually
reach out to them.
I'll take off to Nashville to catch somebody, or Atlanta usually.
Yeah, it's
go
just
catch
south
people.
of Nashville, so that's perfect.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be awesome.
That'd be the one to see.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you guys are going to do a big production of it. I think that would be a fun show to go to. So, all right, man. Well, have a good rest of your tour.
Appreciate that.
You know, and if you know we can do anything for you on the podcast, you know, reach out. Feel free to reach out and let us know. And
Cool.
Yeah, and you know, definitely that Tennessee thing looks very attractive. So I may have to go ahead and plan that out, a road trip. So
Right on.
Anyway, all right, dude. Well, have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, like you said, be safe, stay sick.
Thanks, Rob. See you, dude.